Arsenal out on penalties, as is football, man. It's a penalty shootout, anything can happen. And Arsenal do go out in the round of 16 of the Europa League to Sporting Lisbon. I was just having this conversation thinking, no upsets have really happened this Europa League and Champions League. It's all gone according to plan, no real extra times. And of course, my club Arsenal had to be the upset. Arguably the favourites to win the Europa League and now getting knocked out. Couldn't win against Sporting Lisbon in either leg. Really disappointing for me. But look, I've always been an optimist. I always will be an optimist. Hopefully it's a silver lining. We now have to single tunnel vision on this Premier League trophy. We've got 11 finals left. None this Thursday, Sunday, mixing up our games. We focus on this Premier League now and we have to win it. Plain and simple. Talking about this game though, for me, there was some rotation, but it was a much stronger side than I anticipated. Saliba was in there, Gabriel was in there, Zinchenko, even Aaron Ramsdale, goalkeeper, started. Jesus, of course, back from his injury, started as well. But it was just injuries galore. Eric Seven Haag cursed us. He did. Talks about, oh, none of our players are available. Absolute joke, by the way, given that Jesus has been out half the season now. Partey's been injured for a lot of games. Zinchenko as well. Don't know where he pulled that from. But now, Saliba and Tomiyasu injured in the first half, forced into 2 changes. And that was 2 of our substitution blocks, which actually caused an impact for us because it meant we weren't able to bring on Ødegaard later on in the game until extra time happened. It was all falling apart for us. Our best player, arguably, William Saliba, comes off injured. But from there, we actually started to impose ourselves on the game. We started poorly. We didn't look ourselves, but we got our goal from Xhaka. Brilliant goal, by the way, as well. Running behind from Martinelli, found by Jorginho, takes a shot, rebounded in by Granit Xhaka. Brilliant finish. And that put us 1-0 up. And from there, this is what I'm trying to say, top teams have instinct. We needed the instinct to kill that game. Because for the rest of that first half, we were on them. We had them by the chokehold. We should have just killed that football match. As soon as we went 1-0 up, we should have just gone for the kill. 2-3, just like Man City did the other day. They, of course, drew their away leg against RB Leipzig. They came to the Etihad and they cleaned up 7-0 victory out of there. We should have done the same thing. We didn't. We let them off the hook. And in that second half, we got paid for. We paid for it, man. Because in that second half, I don't know what happened. We got demolished. Sporting Lisbon all over us. We did not have a sniff, man. A sniff in that second half. I don't get it. We lost complete control of the football match. Sporting Lisbon knocking it about for fun. Knocking it about for complete and utter fun. We could not get anywhere near them. We lost all edge to our game and they scored an absolute wonder goal from the halfway line. And it was coming, to be fair, because Aaron Ramsdale does a lot this season. He stays off his line as a sweeper keeper and he got done there. He got found out. Halfway line shot, looped over the keeper into the back of the net to make it 1-1. We then brought on Ødegaard. I don't know why he waited 10 minutes to bring on Ødegaard. He should have brought him on way, way earlier for me. Don't know. That's one of the few mistakes Arteta's made this season. I don't get why you needed 10 extra minutes to justify Vieira being on the pitch when he was doing nothing for 90 minutes. Makes absolutely no sense. Either way, Ødegaard did eventually get brought on. Couldn't do enough and it goes to penalties. And when it goes to penalties, it's in God's hands. We obviously didn't get the luck of the draw with the fact that the penalties were taken in the clock end with the Sporting Lisbon fans. Then again, we didn't get the luck because we were taken second in the shootout when obviously it's definitely much more advantageous to take penalties first from a psychological standpoint. Martinelli misses the 4th penalty. We lose 5-3 on pens. We're out the Europa League. It's the way the cookie crumbles. I'm disappointed because we are the best team in the Premier League this season. We were the favourites to win this Europa League most probably. And we get knocked out to a team that's 4th in the Portuguese league. No disrespect to them whatsoever. They showed today they're a good side, Sporting Lisbon. And you never want to come against penalties against technically gifted sides like Sporting Lisbon, who've got those techie footballers in there. But even so, penalties is one thing that can happen. I'm not going to get on the team's back for losing to penalties. But during 90 minutes, you have to wrap up and win that football match. And then you're given 30 extra minutes to salvage it, and you still couldn't do it. When the football's being played, not a penalty shootout, when there's actual football being played, you have to win that game if you're Arsenal Football Club, especially at home. And we failed to do so, and we pay the price. And the ironic thing is, Arsene Wenger was campaigning all those years for away goals to get scrapped. If away goals were still in place, we would have got through already. The way the cookie crumbles, man. Just the way it goes. But it's one of those things, man. Sporting Lisbon, they came with a game plan, and they perfected it they executed it to absolute perfection, man. They perfected it. Well and truly. The manager came, he didn't just come to sit back, he came to play a football match. And they knew what they were doing. When Zinchenko was going forward, they exploited that left-hand side, dragging Gabriel out of position, dragging Holding out of position, Ben White as well. They knew what they were doing, man. They played well, they had chances, they deserved to go through. Much respect and big up them. I hope they go very far from their standpoint. I don't really care, but as long as they knock out Man United, that's all I care about. But yeah, big up to them, they deserved it. Well played, Sporting Lisbon. For Arsenal now, as I said, I'm an optimist. We have to look at the silver lining. The silver lining is we have to focus on this Premier League. We've got an international break coming up after Crystal Palace, Crystal Palace, honestly, no game's easy in the Premier League, but that's the easiest game you're going to get right now. They haven't won a football match in 2023. They're low on confidence. They won't have Lokonga because obviously he won't be able to play due to him being a loan player from Arsenal. Vieira's on the ropes. We should dispatch them. We should. Then after that, we've got an international break. International breaks are funny. They're kind of like Marmite. They either come at the best possible time or the worst possible time. They come at the worst possible time when you're on momentum. But now it actually could come at the best possible time. We beat Crystal Palace, hopefully, bounce back against Crystal Palace, have an international break, regroup, breathe, meditate. Come back with a new set of objectives. Premier League or bust. That is it. We ain't going on this Thursday, Sunday malarkey. Premier League or bust. That's all we have to focus about. That is our blessing in disguise, I guess. That's the way it's got to go, man. So, we're knocked out here. Blessing in disguise. The thing is, though, when we lost in the FA Cup to Man City, we went on to lose to Everton, draw to Brentford, lost to Man City again in the Premier League. We're not a team that bounces back. And that's a shame for me because top sides, they know how to bounce back. They know how to stop the bleeding there and then. Top sides do that, man. They lose a game, minor. You win your next match. You win. In fact, if anything, you take your anger out on the next team. Man City have been famous for that. Whenever they lose, they take their anger out on the next team. They beat them 4, 5, 6-0. Wipe the floor with them. They take out all their aggression like a punching bag on the next team. Arsenal don't really show that. When we lose, we're actually quite fragile. It's like we're there to get beat again. We're there for the taking. Top teams, they nip it in the bud instantly. So now against Crystal Palace, obviously I'd take a win. That's all I care about. But if we're a top side, let's exert our muscle. Let's exuberate some confidence and go and wipe the floor of Crystal Palace. Let's take our anger out on that side. Let's go, we lost in the Europa League, but it's fine. All that bottled up depression, all that bottled up frustration, all that bottled up anger, let's take it out and punch Crystal Palace and beat them up on the football pitch and win that game 4-5-0. Demolish them. Out-football them. That's what I want to see from this club. And if we do that, I'll take that, man. Because at the end of the day, if someone came to me and said, look, you either go through in the Europa League and beat Sporting Lisbon, but you lose to Crystal Palace on Sunday, or you lose in the Europa League, but you beat Crystal Palace on Sunday, I would definitely rather win on Sunday against Crystal Palace because the Premier League is massive for me. It's worth more than the Europa League. I want this Premier League trophy. We've got 11 finals left. We've got 11 Europa League finals in the Premier League, the way I see it. 11 finals to win this trophy. I want it by all accounts, man. Obviously, that's hypotheticals. It doesn't really go down like that. Just because we lost today doesn't mean we're beating Crystal Palace, and vice versa. Just if we won today doesn't mean we're going to lose against Crystal Palace. But I want to win this Premier League, man. And if going out the Europa League means that it gives us a better chance to win this Premier League, it is what it is. I don't want to go out the Europa League, but I've got to look at the positives. We're out now. We've got to go forward, and we've got to try and win this Premier League. And the good thing was, at the end of the game, the players didn't really look too distraught. They weren't like head in their hands like this. They were disappointed, of course, but they still looked a little bit optimistic and they looked happy. And the crowd, big up the crowd, man. Obviously, there were train strikes today, but they still turned up in their masses, clapped, cheered the team on. Even at the end, they were chanting Arsenal, Arsenal. A lot of faith behind this team because we still have a special season. It's Premier League or bust now, though. Have to win this Premier League for me. Let's move on to player ratings to end the video. In goal, Aaron Ramsey, I think one of our better performers, which says a lot to be honest, made a brilliant save from Marcus Edwards in the second half. Off his face, actually. Unbelievable goalkeeping. 7 out of 10. Ben White, I think, had a poor game, to be honest. I'm going to give him a 5. Equally, I'm not going to... that's because Tomiyasu came off. I'm not going to rate him. Saliba, I'm not going to rate because he barely had enough time either. Rob Holding actually thought had a decent game. 6 out of 10. Made a couple of brilliant blocks, especially for a man that has not been in the team a lot recently. Big up to him for coming in and filling that position. That being said, on the weekend, if Saliba's even 60% fit, he starts over Holding. Because we've got an international break anyway. So, you run your players into the ground, in my opinion. I want to see Saliba on that pitch against Crystal Palace on Sunday. Gabriel next to him. Big up Gabriel, by the way, because a lot of people are saying, Gabriel at times, out of position, etc. This man's covering centre-back and left-back. Let's not forget that. Because Zinchenko goes into midfield, he literally has to cover both centre-back and left-back. He's getting pushed out wide so often, but he deals with it every single time. 9 times out of 10, he's doing perfect from that left-back position because that was Sporting Lisbon's game plan. Attack down there right, Arsenal's left. But big up Gabriel for that, man. I thought he actually played well. Had a couple of good chances on the head as well. He's a real presence in the air. On another day, those go in. But the Sporting Lisbon keeper was a man possessed. And obviously he did the job for them. Big up them for that. 6 out of 10 for Gabriel. Zinchenko, not his greatest game, 5 out of 10. He did the usual, slot into midfield, etc. I'm surprised Tierney didn't play today. I really think Arteta's fallen out with Tierney. I think he wants a left back that can control the game from midfield. And obviously you can't ask Tierney to do that thing because he's not adept in playing that position. He's an overlapping traditional fullback. It's one of those things. Zinchenko, 5 out of 10. Jorginho in there. I thought he played alright, to be fair. Obviously he slotted the ball through for Martinelli. and which then shot and rebounded for Xhaka to score. But in that second half, he lost the midfield, man. Was getting overrun in there and not enough of a presence. 5 out of 10. Partey coming in actually played well. He imposed himself on the game. 6 out of 10 in there. Xhaka scored the goal. 6 out of 10 for that. Other than that, of course, was losing the midfield battle, I'd say, at times. Was getting overrun. Him and Jorginho together, I don't like it. It's too immobile. And I need a bit more legs in that midfield for my liking. Partey needs to be with Xhaka, for example. Just two immobile footballers. They're not really complementing each other. I think we need... it cost us a little bit in that second half, that midfield, man. Yeah, then Fabio Vieira is harsh, but 4 out of 10. One of the worst performers. I don't know why Arteta didn't just sub on Ødegaard as soon as he had the opportunity to. I think he would have subbed him on in the 70th minute if he had an extra substitution. But as soon as you're given an extra sub due to extra time, 90th minute, you sub on Ødegaard. As soon as extra time starts, you don't even let Vieira get back onto that football pitch. Why? He hasn't justified himself staying on that football pitch in 90 minutes. What makes you think he's going to justify it in 10 more minutes? There's no point, man. Instantly, Ødegaard comes on the pitch for me. Waiting 10 minutes made no sense. It's one of those things, man. Ødegaard came on and he looked alright, actually, to be fair, Ødegaard. He was hyping the team up. He was pressing like he always does. A real thorn in Sporting Lisbon side just didn't quite do enough to win us the football match. It's one of those things. 6 out of 10 for Ødegaard. Moving to the front three. Reece Nelson was quiet. But, look, obviously he's not the type... He's not going to be Saka. Like, we can't expect him to do those things. Brilliant against Bournemouth. He had his time of the season. He had his impact for us. That's him, bro. That's him in a nutshell. Today, didn't do his greatest. Deserved to start, given what he's done in the appearances he's made for Arsenal. It's one of those things. Surprised ESR's not getting a single feature for us. I spoke more about ESR on the stream. Make sure you check that out after this game, where I streamed my full reaction to this game. ESR could be on his way out, to be honest. He's not getting a sniff in this Arsenal side right now. Reece Nelson, not really impactful. 5 out of 10. Saka came on. In that second half, when he came on, non-existent. We were not finding him the ball enough. All the attack was coming down the left-hand side. In fact, Saka switched to the left to get more of the football. Obviously scored his penalty, big him up for that. And in the extra time, he was a bit more influential. But overall, did not quite do enough for the game. Give Saka a 5 out of 10. Martinelli, equally, 5 out of 10. Bit of a one-trick pony, man. Head down, just runs forward. Played 120 minutes now, though. I don't think he's going to start against Crystal Palace. Just for precautionary reasons. He's played 2 hours of football, basically. It's one of those things, man. Just not quite impactful today. Jesus, good in that first half, man. 6 out of 10. Very good. Like, it just goes to show he's an intelligent footballer. Not only is he technically gifted, he knows what to do. When we scored that goal, it was him going forward, baiting the defender for Martinelli to run in behind. Those little darts. When we come up against low blocks like Crystal Palace and Leeds, who will sit 10, 11 men behind the ball, Jesus will be so impactful. So it was so nice to see him back. In that first half, he was so good. Forced into subbing him at halftime when I think we would have preferred to sub him around the 60th, 70th minute. It's one of those things. Jesus, on the time he was on the pitch, one of our better players. 7 out of 10 for that. And Trossard is harsh. It's very harsh, but 4 out of 10. Why? He missed a gilt-edged chance. It's a game of fine margins. You're an attacker. You're a striker, basically. You got to score that goal. Through on one-on-one, extra time. The one mistake Sporting Lisbon made all game, you got to score it. You got to punish defenders making errors. He didn't do that. And at the end of the day, we lost the game in penalties. He scored his penalty, but I'm sorry, Trossard. It's one of those things. No hate against you. You played brilliant on the weekend. And I hope against Crystal Palace you played just as well as you did against Fulham. But it's one of those things. Today, that chance cost us. It's one of those things. But overall, Arsenal do get knocked out of the Europa League to Sporting Lisbon. I'm not too distraught. Of course, I'm disappointed because I wanted us to go find this competition. But it's one of those things, man. We're out of the Europa League. If anything, you can say it's a blessing that we're out this early. Because rather than being out in the final, I didn't want to repeat of Baku, for example. It means we now have to focus on the Premier League. We've got a massive game against Crystal Palace. And that is a final in itself. Then the international break. Then we lock in for 10 more Premier League finals, where this team can go on to do something very special. Because if we lift that Premier League trophy in May, not a single fan will be talking about, oh, we lost to Sporting Lisbon Europa League. They'll all be having the time of their life, celebrating the Premier League trophy in a red North London parade. As always, let me know your thoughts and in the comment section down below. I absolutely loved to hear it. Check out the live stream here, where I talked more about the game, man. It was brilliant. Got a lot of you lot involved as well. Over 5,000 viewers. Loved it. Going to be streaming it again against Crystal Palace. If you're new around and you love Arsenal-related content, this is the place to make sure you subscribe down below. My road to 2,000 subscribers. I've been Football and hope to see you all in my next video.